Let's continue our discussion on the shadow of the martyr. Okay, so I may get a bit on my soapbox here in this video, but I'd like us to, at least for the next few minutes, challenge our perception of what it means to be heroic. Because sometimes actions that we label as brave and courageous and heroic slip across the threshold into martyrdom and a glorification of self-sacrifice. So think of all the figures in myth and history that have heroically sacrificed their lives for the good of their people. Jesus comes to mind first, right? Joan of Arc, another almost universally loved historical figure. And the many Catholic priests and nuns that were sainted because of their willingness to either die or physically harm themselves in the name of their devotion to the church. And then in modern days, we have the thousands, if not millions, of soldiers that sacrifice their lives in loyalty to their country. So to all these people, we say, thank you for your sacrifice. Now, in no way am I desiring to put down sacrifice or the many people who have sacrificed their lives for a cause that they believed in, worthy causes, many of them. However, I do believe that we live in a culture that glorifies self-sacrifice to the point of martyrdom. And that martyrdom is a glorification of death, not life. And that this needs to shift. Honestly, I believe at this point in human evolution, we need historical and mythic figures that are helping us learn how to live, and be fully present. Heroes and heroines that show us how to value the way we choose to live our lives, not simply how we choose to leave that life with a bang. Okay, so where did this glorification of martyrdom come from? Let's first look at this word sacrifice, which technically means to make sacred. It is a universal practice just about across all spiritual traditions to give things up in devotion to God, goddess, spirit. And these would be things that the ego is attached to, but that do not actually serve us along our spiritual paths. And this has been an immensely important practice for me personally, releasing what no longer serves me and allows me to create sacred space to continue to grow and evolve spiritually every day. So we sacrifice relationships, physical possessions, unhealthy foods or habits, even beliefs, identities. Never things that we need emotionally or physically to be healthy, happy, nourished, and cared for. Somewhere along the way, during the last 4,000 years or so, acts of sacrifice got a whole lot bigger and came to include giving up everything a person had, including their life. So why did this happen? I believe it is because life got really, really difficult and painful for most people. Economic hardship, persecution. It was really difficult for our ancestors to stay alive. They lived through some shitty times. And they made these big sacrifices like moving across the world, leaving their homes, joining revolutions, being tortured, imprisoned, or murdered for the sake of their loved ones and the ones to come. Us. These types of sacrifice were for our ancestors incredible devotional acts of love so that we could live the way that they did not. Which brings it back to us here living in the 21st century. Where I'm not saying we no longer have hardship and that life is totally peachy, or that we don't have global crises to be very concerned about. But for most of you watching this video, you are living a more comfortable life than that of your ancestors of the past thousands of years. And if this is not the case for you, I apologize that this message of the video may not resonate for you. Having a better life than our ancestors is not something to feel guilty about, but it is actually something to be grateful for. and lean into and not to take for granted. We don't need to live out our ancestors' legacies by sacrificing in the way that they did. This is actually now not an expression of love. Our ancestors want to see us embrace our freedom, embrace our comforts, and enjoy our lives. Many of us carry the trauma our ancestors went through in our bones and our blood. Emotional memories that create anxiety, depression, and illness. Without us even realizing this is the cause of these mental illnesses. We are unconsciously playing out the martyr roles that we inherited from our ancestors. But guess what? We don't need to play that role anymore. It no longer serves us. What if the most heroic sacrifice you can make is letting go of the role of the martyr? The belief that life has to be hard and difficult and will work you to the bone. And instead, what if you could redefine what it means to be the hero by being the hero of your own life who chooses joy, chooses self-care, chooses wellness, chooses to be fully awake to the sweetness of life. This is how the entire natural world operates. I mean, have you seen birds? They're having a ball every single moment of their lives. And it is the greatest legacy you can leave. This is what your ancestors wanted for you, for us all. Thank you for watching.